Hey Canucks fans, hope you're well. The Canucks were back at practice today with a couple of notable changes to both their forward group and defense core as they get ready for Luke Hughes, Jack Hughes, and the New Jersey Devils tomorrow night at Rogers Arena. Of course, the Canucks coming off their exciting yet disappointing 4-3 loss to the Carolina Hurricanes last night. I was at that game, didn't stream last night, but we did do a Canucks After Dark with Parker. And what we talked about was the fact that Carolina is a fast, puck-controlled team, get a lot of shots off, and they look like the more dangerous team on the night. Now, the Canucks staged a furious comeback in the third period to earn a point, but I would dare say that the better team indeed won last night. Yet, still Canucks had strong performances from a few players, especially Kevin Lankinen and Quinn Hughes on the offensive side. He wasn't so good on the defensive side. So let's talk about how the Canucks practiced today in anticipation of that visit from the Hughes brothers and the Devils tomorrow night. Up front, one change, but it's a big change. And it was a change that we saw kind of precipitated or started in the third period of last night's game. So they switched Arshdeep Bains and Nils Hoglander on the left side between the second and fourth line. So now it is Miller, Besser, and DeBrusk, so no change there. And then it was Elias, Pettersson, Connor Garland, and Arshdeep Bains now on the second line. Third line, the amazing third line of Blueger, Sherwood, and Heinen, that stays intact. And now the new fourth line of Pia Suter with Daniel Sprong and Nils Hoglander. Now let's talk about that real quick before we jump to the D. Last night, Rick Tocchet was not happy with the play of the second line. And in particular, he singled out Nils Hoglander, said flat out, I didn't like Hoglander. Like that's kind of cutting when you think about it. So indeed, at the start of the third period, Bains had taken Hoglander's spot on the second line with Petey and Garland. That's how he finished the game. And that's likely how they're going to play tomorrow night against New Jersey. That means that Hoglander goes down to the fourth line, and that fourth line did score. They scored the game-tying goal, that exciting Sprong out wide. Kochetkov, not sure what he was doing, being so aggressive, going past the face-off circle. Sprong centering it, going off Kochetkov to Suter, who put it into the open net. All to say, that fourth line I thought was fine. Third line's always good with Blueger and Sherwood on it. So Nils Hoglander joins that fourth line to play with Suter and Sprong. So that means your extra forwards were, once again, Nils Amon and Dakota Joshua. A quick word about him. Actually, this came up in our Canucks After Dark last night, talking about will he require a conditioning stint in Abbotsford. My guess last night was no, and sure enough, today Rick Tocchet said likely not a conditioning stint in Abbotsford, rather monitor his minutes when he makes when he plays for real with the big club. And he was in a full contact, so not a non-contact jersey, but a full practice jersey today as an extra. So don't expect him to play tomorrow against New Jersey, but I fully expect him to play on the 3-game California road trip starting on Saturday in San Jose. And you know, people ask me, well, where would you put him? I'd put him on the third line. I'd put him with Sherwood and Blueger and let him and Sherwood just scare the heebie-jeebies out of everyone. You can move Heinen down the fourth line, and whether it's Heinen, Hoglander, and Suter, and then you move Hoglander back up the second line and put Heinen on the fourth line and sit Bains. So one of either Bains or Sprong will likely have to make room for Dakota Joshua coming in the lineup. So that's a bit about the forwards. On D, same top four, surprise, surprise, Hughes, Hronek, Susie Myers. And then you could say you'd have two third pairings. So what they did is they had Brannstrom play with Noah Juulsen at practice, and then Forbort and Desharnais, which was the starting third pair of the season, the pair that started the season on the third pair. But might they be the fourth pair? So this is the most, it's not super intriguing, but it's pretty intriguing to me. Erik Brannstrom has been great since coming over in that trade for Tucker Pullman from the Colorado Avalanche. Ever since being inserted in the lineup, he's played generally within his means, within his limits, and he's added a new dimension to that third pairing of someone being able to move the puck, skate the puck out of their own end. Now, before last night's game against Carolina, Rick Tocchet hinted that he was considering a defensive, a slight tweak in the D pairing. So in my head, that was Desharnais out and Juulsen in, because it was too quick, I think, to move Brannstrom to the right and put Forbort back in, who just returned to the team after the unfortunate death of his father. So they did not make the change last night. Desharnais struggled a little bit, only played 12 minutes. And sure enough, in practice today, Desharnais was back with Forbort, who was returning to practice, and Brannstrom was still on the left side, but instead paired up with Noah Juulsen, who got a couple of games at the start of the season. So the question is, which pairing do you go with tomorrow? In Brannstrom and Juulsen, you have a pairing that's probably better at moving the puck, thanks to Brannstrom, yet Juulsen is still not afraid to play big and take the body. Or do you have a more traditional stay-at-home pairing in Forbort and Desharnais? We know what Desharnais can do, which right now isn't that much, admittedly. And Derek Forbort, you just hope that he's in the right space after returning from his leave of absence. So Canucks fans, let me know what you think down below. Which pairing would you rather see on the blue line for the Canucks tomorrow night? Is it Erik Brannstrom and is it Noah Juulsen? Or is it Derek Forbort and Vincent Desharnais? The Canucks also practiced their power play, thank goodness. Same 5 guys, Miller, Boeser, Petey, Hughes, and Garland, but a different formation. This time it was Garland on the left, it was Miller on the right, Hughes up top, of course, and then both Petey and Boeser kind of bumper front of net. So instead of a traditional one guy in the bumper, one guy around the net, behind the net, beside the net, I think both guys were taking turns in the bumper and in the middle. So whether that means more traffic, more movement, to me it's not even getting more traffic, it's actually gaining the zone on the power play and setting up properly. They do the drop passes, which is fine. Every team does that. They try and get at least a forward coming through the neutral zone with speed, but that forward isn't always getting over the blue line, and when he does, that first or second pass hasn't been the strongest for the Vancouver Canucks. They spend almost 20-30 seconds just trying to get set up, let alone good passing, using the bumper, in and out, switches, all those type of things. So that's one thing the Canucks will have to work on, is before even working on formations and motion in the offensive zone during the power play, is actually gaining the zone and getting properly set up so they can start to execute some of those set plays. So there we go, Canucks fans, some changes at practice. Basically, Hoglander and Bains swapping places on the left wing. And then on D, Brannstrom playing with Juulsen instead of Desharnais. Desharnais reunited with Forbort, but no indication which of those 2 pairings will be the true third pairing for the Vancouver Canucks tomorrow night. So Canucks now 4-1-3, still 3 games over 500. You just go 4-1, or you can go 11 points in 8 games, 11-8. That's also 3. So regardless, they're 3 games over 500, still on a 113-point pace. So no need to panic. Just kind of weird the way the Canucks have only won once at home. They've lost the other 3, but of those other 3, they've picked up points in 2 of those 3. They've only lost 1 game. In all their 3 losses at home, they've all been extra point losses. 2 overtimes, 1 shootout. The only game that they've lost in regulation was actually the first game of their road trip, and that was in Tampa. So Canucks, bottom line, 3 games over 500, still sitting comfortably in a playoff spot and at the top half of the standings as opposed to the bottom half. So let me know what you guys think of these changes in practice. And tonight I'll have my show at 11 o'clock, a quick bowling recap, and then we'll recap last night's game and look ahead to the Devils game and talk more about these lineup changes in my live stream tonight at 11 p.m. Thanks to my sponsors, Van City Experts Real Estate, Coach Patrick Liu, weight loss coach. Thank you, legendary Lucas Gates, legendary Andrew Chang, and to Hall of Fame and franchise members as well. And thanks to all of you for liking, subscribing, and watching these videos. On your way out, subscribe, like, you can leave a tip, become a member, upgrade your membership, and let me know what you think about these lineup changes. And we'll see you tonight at 11 p.m. for Clay's Canucks Commentary Live right here on this YouTube channel. Stay safe, stay healthy, take care of yourselves, and take care of each other. God bless, and go Canucks go.